Good morning, everybody. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Eric Taylor. I am the owner of Allwood Stain. I build fences, so presentations aren't my number one thing, but we'll give it a shot here, so bear with me. I first want to thank Matt and Melithia for helping me with this, getting ready and everything. I do appreciate that. Also, the Kauffman Foundation and 1 Million Cups for putting this on, giving us this outlet and this platform. So before we dive into the presentation, just want to get a little personal with everybody, get to know you guys a little bit. With a show of hands, who here has ever owned or rented a home? Come on now. Okay. Very nice. Keep it up. Keep up your hands. Did that house have a fence of any kind? Wooden, wrought iron? Okay. All right. Pretty good. And keep them up. Did you have an HOA? I heard that. Yes. Okay. We can put them down, but look around the room. You guys are our target market. Everyone here pretty much. We are in the fence restoration business. I know you a little bit better now, so let's get to know me. Okay, so our team. Head of operations has 10 plus years experience in the fence restoration business. Actually came to us with 5 years as a general manager of our largest competition. Actually the largest fence restoration business in the area, actually, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Head of finance has 10 plus years as a licensed financial advisor, 5 years with Edward Jones. Head of creative, BFA in graphic design here at a local college, University of North Texas, 3 years with Publicitas. So you're probably thinking, wow, that guy, they all three look similar. And they kind of look like me. Well, that is me. So now you know me a little better. I am the sole employee of Allwood Stain. So you're thinking how you get the work done. Obviously, you don't do it all. We subcontract all our work. So we can be very picky who we use, make sure that they hold up to our quality that we expect. I'm big, as you'll see later. One of the things that I think makes us stand out more than others is that we take pride in our work. It's very easy in this business to mess up a job. You're dealing with oil-based stains and solid paints and things like that. You can get things on cars and windows and other people's property. So we take a lot of pride in what we do. What we do, you've seen a little bit where our business comes from. 14% of our business comes from repair. Our smallest job is $250. A lot of companies will turn that down. We actually will take on those smaller jobs and knock them out. And a lot of people appreciate that, and that leads to bigger jobs. So we don't turn down really any job. We'll at least go out there and tell you if we can do it or not, or recommend. There's many times I go out there and, it's not worth saving, or they want to do something bigger and I have a better idea to save them money. So it can go both ways. 31% of our revenue comes from building, new construction, basically tearing down an old fence and putting up a new one. We haul off everything and then leave you with a nice, pretty fence. 55% of our business comes from washing and staining. Really big last year here in Texas. We have hailstorms. So we had, I think, 3 last year in the area. If you've noticed, that will dent up a fence, it looks like someone shot it up with a machine gun. Just white spots all over it. We'll come in, power wash that down. You almost makes it look like new wood again, and then we stain it. We started September 2015. We'll dive into the numbers. September is a slower part of our time. It's the downward time from about September to March. We have colder weather, wet weather as today. Not a good day to stain. So it was a little slow coming in, and then 2016 was a good first year. 2017, obviously we had a nice nice growth. This picture over here is kind of the example of what I was talking about. That's hail damage on the left side, and then after we washed it. And then we come back and stain that. 2018, it's a good start, but it's a little slower than last year due to, February we've had a lot of rain. I think we've had 3 work days so of staining. We can still build a little bit, but the staining is, you have to let it dry out before you apply the oil-based stain. Oil and water do not mix. Total, 762,513. Hopefully, it looks like we'll get over that 1 million mark this year. So that's a nice goal to hit this year. Why us? That's actually my son hidden behind all that. I mentioned it before. I like to have subcontractors that take pride in their work. I love when they send me pictures of their work. That tells me a lot that they're proud of it. And so that's one little thing that I don't ask, but it shows me, how they feel about what they're doing. And so that's a big key. It's a little thing that I don't tell them that I'm looking for, but when they do it, I know they're going to be with me for a while. Competitive pricing. I buy everything straight from a manufacturer, and I have, which is an old friend of mine. So I can be very competitive. If I need to come down to get a job, I can do it and still make a profit. I see quotes nowadays that just blow my mind. They'll be 3, 4, 5 times higher than mine. And that's a lot when you're dealing with something, you're not really expecting. People don't really put back for their fence. And then it's all of a sudden, it's a big cost, especially with the fences we're building these days. I was talking to Matt earlier. When I was growing up, it was, pine. Now it's cedar. Now it's 8 feet tall. Now it's a rolling gate. Those things add up real fast. And, we're looking at $20,000 fences now. Above and beyond service. Because we can save, we put out a lot. We'll do the little extra things. We'll take people staying at no cost if they need a little extra, leave it on their front door, things like that. That's my presentation. I think it gives you a good look into Allwood Stain and what we do. We have a lot of ideas for ways to grow and things to do in the future that will really expand what we do for our customers. Thank you very much for coming out today, and I'm free for questions. I did not bring, I realized I didn't bring a lot of business cards today, and I'm really proud of my business cards, actually. I think they're the best ones out there. I hand my business card, and people say something about it every time. But I do have 2, so lucky 2 of you. But I did bring some bread, so hopefully everybody likes bread. It's a business card, just a little bigger. You can use it as a coaster at your office. That would be awesome. You can use it as firewood if you want to, if you didn't like this presentation. You can use it as a knock on wood, carry it with you, when everybody needs a little bit of that. But there's wood, yes. And it has my QR code. So that's on there. Take it. There's enough, I think, for everybody.
Eric, thank you very much. Great presentation. A good way to start us off. A great way to start us off on Wednesday morning. So we'll open up for questions. I do ask again that hold the microphone so we can get to the live feed for the people viewing, and we'll start questions in the back.
Okay, this is great. So I have a home, and so the one thing that drives me crazy is construction. People will come in and they tear it up and they leave and they never come back. What is your advice to make sure that that person, that construction company, will come back, finish the time on time, within budget?
Good question, and I see it and hear horror stories all the time. Main thing is don't pay anybody 100% prior to. Most companies, on my wash and staining, I should probably charge 20%, but I don't. I came from a company that charged 20%. I have a good relationship with my customers, so I don't charge anything up front. It's all back end, and I haven't had any problems. Now, that's on wash and staining. The jobs are averaging about $700 to $1,000. On my builds, I do charge 50% because of all the material. But it's 50%. So I don't get the other 50% if I don't come back and finish the job. So that's the main thing, is don't pay anybody. There are companies that want 100%, or they get started and they want more money. Don't give it to them. I know that sounds simple, but that's the best advice I can give.
So, nice presentation. I believe that you've identified what your differentiators are, meaning pride, above and beyond service, and competitive pricing. How do you communicate that message to clients or prospects that don't know you?
I haven't done any advertising. This is all word of mouth and referrals, every bit of it, not one piece of advertising. So to answer your question, is the biggest way to express that is to get the estimate out there fast. They're going to see your estimate hopefully first. I've noticed in Frisco, probably Frisco more than anywhere, people tend to get 3 estimates on average. And if you're one of the first ones to get back to somebody and then they see that your price is better, that's going to speak volumes.
And I have a tip for you. Because you're in the referral business, and really all businesses are, is ask your clients to refer you on Open Door, that neighborhood app, because that will go viral very quickly. Next door, sorry.
Okay, I was going to say, I was
Next
like,
door, sorry,
what is Open
sorry.
Door?
No, Next Door.
Next Door. Next Door is
Open Door
great.
is Next
You're
Door.
right. And it's really good. And one thing I've done in the past is I will offer someone, if you can find, and it's not easy, but if you can find that one person in a neighborhood that is the socialite, the one that is good on social media, and tell them, look, I'm going to give you a discounted price based on how many neighbors you bring in, and tell them that I'll give them a discount. I've had one lady in Allen, she brought in 30 neighbors. So we did 30 homes. I did hers for free. Wow. So, that's, yes. So great advice, definitely.
Oh, that sounds like a great customer right there. Question. I mean, and she mentioned how you pride yourself on just the quality of work and also being able to subcontract these out. How do you communicate your quality, and what are some of your methods that you do to maintain that quality as the project's going on?
With the customer or with the subcontractor?
With the subcontractor and with the actual work itself.
Yeah. I test my guys out first. I'll give them small jobs, maybe jobs that there's not many problems. I won't start someone out on a 8-foot tall fence with a pool, and a lot of shrubbery and precious plants. I will start them off on a 6-foot small fence, and I'll be there. So I will test them out. I'll make sure that they're doing, they hold up to the standards that I have. I've done all this, so I'm very particular. Good question.
Thanks again for doing the presentation. I thought it was great, and I love the marketing that you're doing here. I think it's super creative, probably some of the more creative marketing that we've seen since we started the chapter, so that's really awesome. I did want to go back to your revenue slide, and let's just get back to the business model for a little bit. It seems like you're having some fairly impressive growth, being a one-man shop along with your subcontractors. So I'd like to know, just overall, in terms of your growth plan, are you looking to stay small since you're local? Are you expanding out to, the northern regions where we're having a lot of new home development and Prosper and Gunter and beyond? So talk to us about your growth strategy and how you think you can achieve that, given that you are a one-man shop.
Great. We cover, and Matt and I were talking about this earlier this morning, we go all the way up to Salina, over to Wiley, Rockwall, Coppell, and down south in Dallas. So we cover all those areas and have projects that I can give addresses to customers if they want to go look at something in all those areas. But to answer your question on expanding, I think big, so I don't want to stay small. I want to bring on people, and I have people in mind. It's the whole math has to work. And then I have some ideas. This is a competitive area, but it's not one that I fear the competition. In fact, I'd like to bring on Edward. When I was at Edward Jones, my favorite thing was to train new guys that came in, guys and gals. I loved it. They'd come to my office, and I would train them. And I wouldn't sugarcoat. So I would like to bring in and set someone up. It's like a franchise, but I don't want it to be under the same name. Basically, what I would do is I'd bring them in, give them all the supplies for a fee, train them and let them ask all the questions, meet with me as during the week and things like that, and then I'd let them go. There's enough fences. I mean, there's plenty of work here. And so then, and you're probably thinking, well, how would you benefit? They would buy the stain through me. I get the stain. I'm a distributor also. So they would always get their product from me. So every fence they stain, I'm making profit.
How much of your totals are coming from your stain distribution?
Zero right now.
Why 0?
Because I have not done that idea. I've not acted on that
Sounds like
yet.
a great one. You should
Yes.
consider doing it.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Is the pricing commoditized? Is it by square feet, or should you visit each fence and then give a separate estimate?
Awesome question, and one I also want to, if I had a tech person, which I am not, I would love to have an easy app that can, because it is by square footage. Washing and staining is simply by square footage, and then building is by linear footage. Okay, so it's two things that you can, create an app and someone could almost come up with their own estimate. So the quicker I can get someone an estimate, the better for me. You're more likely to get the job.
Hi, I'm really impressed with your numbers. I hope that those are my numbers one day. But what I like to know is, what are you doing to keep yourself from being stretched too thin?
Great question. It happens. It happened as the GM of the competition. Whenever I was there, it happened. I took the business as he bought it. So from day one, I had the business, and I treated it as my own. I had 2 rules: no one talks to the owner, and no one cancels. Those are my 2 rules. If someone tried to cancel, why? Let me make it better. So I wouldn't let anybody off the schedule. And I thought he hired me to leave him alone. So I answered every question. I made every decision. And it happened. We grew really fast. And I went to him and said, I need help. And so we built a team over there. And here I'm having to do the same. I'm not stretched too thin yet. But I will need to add people.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions for you. Number one is, in using subcontractors, when I've been involved in having something done at my house, people that use subcontractors, sometimes they run into conflicts. They'll start my job, and then they'll disappear for 2 days because they got another job over here. So how do you solve that? And my other question is, what's your average margin on your revenues there?
Great questions. Labor is the hardest thing in this job. It makes you want to pull your hair out. It is so tough. And I used to hear my old boss say, I'm going to sell this company because of the labor. And I've been there. It gets really hard. To answer your question, my subcontractors are ones I've used a long time. I pay them well, first of all. So I think that's key to keeping them from going somewhere else. I've always had them drop other jobs for me. I'm not greedy, and maybe to a downfall, actually. I pay my subcontractors on a job, subcontractors, exactly what I make. So it's more of a partnership, and I think that's the best way. And I've never had one leave my job, ever. And but I have had things happen, where I've had guys steal from me, and those guys don't last very long. I give usually 1 or 2 chances on things, and then I show them that I'm here for them, and if they throw that away, then I let them go quickly after that. So, second question, my margins. My margins are pretty good. I try never to go below 20% on any job, and I can be as high as 40%. It just depends. We could go back to the different slides, and I can explain that one-on-one and show you the margins on each one: repairs, build, and stain. The margins are good. We've had some hiccups last year. I bought a guy, contractor, a car he didn't have. So I bought him a car, and that didn't work out well. So we've had some expenses that are behind the scenes that shouldn't be there. But those are variables in every business, and I've gone through them. So, thank you.
What percentage of your revenues are derived by insurance claims? This is very insurance sensitive, as well as I see that jump could be because of the hailstorms we had in 2017. Is that correct?
That's a very, very on-spot assumption. Percentage-wise, I don't have that broken down. I could get that. I do have about 12 roofers I work with. I have fired roofers. There's a lot of bad roofers out there. Ones that don't pay, one that sends me all over the place to get my estimates. I had one that sent me on 3 days worth of estimates, 21 estimates I did for them. Met with the customers, everything, and wrote them up estimates. They gave me the jobs, and then they canceled them about 3 days prior to every one of them. And then I fired them and said, never call me again. But I don't know the percentage. I can get that. The hailstorms this past year definitely did help the numbers, of course. We're always going to have some type of heavy winds. So for repairs, gates, things like that. And then I have just scratched the surface on the building. I haven't pushed it at all. We also, which I have not done, we can build beautiful arbors, patio covers, outdoor kitchens, decks. There's a lot of things I haven't even scratched the surface on to build more revenue. And the margin on patio covers and things, arbors, are pretty high.
Hey, very engaging presentation. Looked very genuine and sincere. I wish you all the best for your huge success. I have 2 questions. You said you outsource all your work and you pay your contractors very well and then still keep your pricing competitive. Now, how do you manage that compared to your competitor who has his own workforce?
Good question. None of them do. The competitors are all 1099, even the biggest. So the biggest company out there that does, $2 million a year, all subcontract. But they treat them like employees. They expect them to show up at a certain time. They leave at a certain time. It's just that they 1099 them.
Understood. That may have answered my second question, but I still would ask, at what point in your growth path do you intend or anticipate to hire your own workforce or still keep it all 1099?
Employees will be more on the business side. As far as the workforce, I think I will always 1099 that. Just because of their own equipment, things like that, that would bring my costs way up. They supply. On a fence build, my subcontractor comes in, tears the whole fence down, takes it to the dump, builds a fence, picks up the wood, builds a fence. I never touch a hammer. I never touch any wood, and I'd like to keep it that way. That just keeps my cost really good. To answer your other question, how can I be competitive if everyone else either has employees or doing the same thing? It's I find the best cost in the material. I have a really good relationship, no late payments, things like that, with my manufacturer of the stain. If I've priced it, if you buy it off the shelf, it's going to be 3 to 4 times higher. And a lot of subcontractors are buying it off the shelf. And
One quick question. Do you foresee any alternatives to wood material that's coming up in the near future?
yeah, if I come up with something. No, I'm always thinking, you know, I got all this sawdust, things like that. I made all those from, these are dog ears that we cut off of the fence top. When we're done and we're leveling it out, we cut the dog ears off, or the top. That's all made from that. So I have all this cedar. That's Western red cedar also. So if you like that smell, it's good just to sit on your desk, by the way. I love things like that. So I'm also trying to streamline thinking about overspray. You know, if somebody out here comes up with an idea to stop overspray, bam, you're golden. And I would love to. I've thought of all kinds of spray mechanisms. I would love to come up with that like that. I mean, I come up with crazy ideas, and I that's my interest. That's why I'm here. So I don't know if there's going to be anything else, but someone is thinking about it, because we're chopping down a lot of trees, growing a lot of trees, and making a lot of fences here in Texas especially. I mean, everybody has these big, huge fences now. It's all cedar. Cedar prices have gone up like 3 times last year on just here. So great.
Eric, thank you for the presentation. I got one last question, then we'll move on. So you and I have talked a lot, obviously, and this is, fence business is not something that's around the country. It's we're in a good pocket, so there's a lot of business out there. You know, for you to grow, obviously, as we've talked, you need to figure out how to scale it and get the people on at the right time. So for us in the audience, what can we do for you and add value?
Yeah, I mean, education is big on my job, setting expectations and then following them. That's huge and leads to something you were mentioning earlier. Networking, you know, this has been great, just the opportunity. So thank you very much. I enjoyed the questions a lot. I'm also looking for funding. I do want to bring some in-staff people on board, and I do have people in mind, good people that have been in the business and know what they're doing. Competition. So those are things, if you have, or ideas. I'm so open to ideas. I never shut anything down. I keep my doors open. The best ideas come, you know, from other people and things that are already out there. So things like that. If you know anybody or think you could help, let me know. You will have a large business card to take home with you.
Eric, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brad.